Welcome to Uniquely Female Troubles. My name is Leslie Wells. Before we start talking, I want to tell you that I am posting a piece of my art almost every day under my community posts. So if you would like to see my art, just check that out over there. I would appreciate that. And today's video is, I'm calling it, Why Doesn't the Bad Stuff Stop When the Bad Stuff Stops? It sounds kind of weird, but it's okay. You're in a terrible situation and all kinds of things are being done to you. You're being abused, you're being traumatized, and you're just trying to get through it. And then finally you get yourself out of it. You're safe. Think, yay, now I can start my good life. And then you start having panic attacks. You start having flashbacks. You start having nightmares. And it's like, what's going on here? I thought my good life was going to start now, and now I'm absolutely miserable. And I'm having all these symptoms. And the reason these symptoms start up then is because your mind knows that you're safe. And you can deal with this stuff. When we're in the middle of a traumatic situation, our main goal is to survive it. And our brains are very in tune with the fact that we need to survive what we're in, and it will do anything it can to help us survive, which is a good thing, definitely. But when you're still in the middle of it, you can't really heal from it. But it's kind of shocking because you think, okay, it's over with. Now I can, be happy again. And you can be happy and you can be proud of yourself because you have gotten yourself out of this terrible situation. But the fact is if you've been traumatized, and you have like post-traumatic stress disorder or even complex post-traumatic stress disorder, like a lot of us do, unfortunately, then what happens is your brain is like, okay, now we're safe. Now it's time to process the trauma. And you know what? That is not fun. That is hard. It's sad. It's infuriating. It's frustrating. It's a lot of other things too that are very hard to deal with. Flashbacks are very hard to deal with. I've had plenty of flashbacks, and a flashback doesn't have to be like in a movie. Like they always show like a war veteran and then like a car backfires and suddenly he's hallucinating and every one of his senses tells him that he's back on a battlefield in Vietnam or in the South Pacific or in the Pacific theater of World War II or in Europe. It doesn't have to be that way. I've never had a flashback like that, and I'm glad. A flashback can be when something jolts you back to feeling the way you felt when you were in danger and when you were being abused, and re-experiencing all those feelings. It's not necessarily, it can be, but it's not necessarily like that you're hallucinating and you don't even know that it's not still happening. Even though you know it is not still happening, you are feeling the same feelings you felt when it was happening. That is a flashback. It does not have to be a hallucination to be a flashback. So don't let those movies fool you. It doesn't have to be that immersive to be a flashback. Even though you know in your mind you're safe, but your body and your feelings feel in danger again. Your heart is pounding. Your stomach's roiling. Maybe you're dizzy. Maybe you're hot. Maybe you're scared. And it's like, what am I even scared of? I'm sitting here alone in my living room. Nothing bad's going to happen. Your heart's pounding. And it's just like you feel all those emotions again. And like suddenly you're filled with anger. Or you're filled with fear. Or you're filled with sadness and you can't stop crying. That is a flashback. It is caused by re-experiencing those old feelings that haven't been totally processed yet. Panic attack. When I have a panic attack, the first thing that happens is my stomach feels really nervous, really tight. And all of a sudden, it's like I have to take all these really deep breaths. Like, I feel like I need more air. And then I get really, really hot. And I feel dizzy. I feel lightheaded. My heart is racing. And it kind of feels like I'm going to either pass out, have a heart attack, or die. That's what a That's what a panic attack feels like for me. And I think most people who have panic attacks, I mean, a lot of people end up in an ER because they think they're having a heart attack or they think they're dying or both. And that is really normal when you don't know what it is. And a panic attack is just your body's physical way of manifesting this stuff that's locked up inside of you. And nightmares. I actually had to take a medicine. It was actually originally developed as a blood pressure medicine. It's called Prozozin. And if any of you need this, ask your doctor. It's an alpha blocker. And it's Prozozin. I think it's spelled Praso or Zosin. I think that it's spelled something like that. That's what it's spelled like. And that they found that actually suppresses nightmares. I was having so many nightmares. And this is after I left my ex, moved in with my parents for 2.5 years, went to school, had a career as a medical coder, bought my house that I still live in, sleeping in my own bed in my own house with nobody around that's going to hurt me. And I'm having nightmares over and over and over that either I'm still in the cult or I'm still married or both. And then I would wake up, and it wasn't like, you would think you could say, oh, that was just a bad dream. I'm glad that's not my life anymore. It invades your feelings, and it didn't feel like I had a bad dream. It felt like I time traveled. It felt like I time traveled back into my old life and I lived it again. And all those terrible feelings that I had locked up inside of me for so long, I experienced them again. So, and by then I was safe for several years. You can have these feelings for a long, long time. And my therapist told me that I will always have PTSD. That's not anything that's ever going to go away. He said the goal is to have less intense symptoms less frequently. So your panic attacks might not be as bad. You might not have as many nightmares. They might spread out. You might go from having 2 or 3 a week to 1 a week to 1 a month to once a year. And that's the goal. And it isn't that it's ever going to go away. It is permanently a part of you. And that's kind of hard to accept sometimes. But just like if you were in a car wreck and your leg got cut off, that is a permanent new reality for you. You only have one leg. And hopefully you'll get a prosthesis and you'll learn how to walk, and maybe even better than you did before. Maybe you can run better than you did before. But you'll never be the way you were before the bad thing happened. That's reality. It's a sad reality. And it's one that I wish wasn't true, but it is. And when you're still in the middle of a crisis, you're not healing from that same crisis. Whether your crisis is 1 hour, 1 day, whether your crisis is a 20-year-long marriage, it could be that. And during that 20 years, you can make some progress. And mostly the progress is getting out of it or fixing it. And generally, fixing it isn't always an option because a marriage involves 2 people. And unless both people want to fix it, it's not going to get fixed. You could decide to endure it, which in my opinion is a horrible choice because that means you're going to have a horrible life. You're going to be abused for the rest of your life. Or like the progress I made when I was married all went to one thing. It was getting me out of the marriage and getting me out of the cult. I still needed to deal with the damage from the cult and the damage from the marriage. And I'm still dealing with that 20 years later. And to give you an example, if you woke up in the middle of the night and you smelled smoke, and then you sat up, you heard crackling, you heard your smoke alarm going off, your house is on fire, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Are you going to sit down on your bed and say like, oh my gosh, my house is on fire, I'm gonna lose everything I own, what if my insurance doesn't even cover the price of fixing the damage or replacing the house? What's going to happen to me? Oh my gosh, how am I going to deal with this? Am I going to need therapy? No. Nobody would do that. Nobody. You're not going to sit in the middle of a burning house. What you're going to do, you're going to grab your kids, grab anybody else that's in that house, grab your pets, grab your purse and cell phone, grab some photo albums on the way out if possible, and you're going to get out of there and you're going to call 911. You're not going to try to recover from the fire while you're still in the burning house. It doesn't work that way. And a lot of times we kind of think it should work that way. We think that like once we finally get ourselves out of the bad situation, that it's done. Unfortunately, it is done. That first phase is done. The trauma is done, hopefully. But there's still another phase, and that is healing from the trauma, and they don't happen at the same time. I wish they could. I wish you could be in a horrible situation and then just walk away and everything's bunnies and daisies and so great. And it is so great because nobody's hurting you anymore. When I first moved into this house, the only thing I needed to do to be totally happy and content was to sit alone on my couch and look at all the pretty colors on the walls, because I don't have a single white wall in this entire house. I have 12 different colors in my house. And if anybody wants to know what they were, ask me in the comments and I'll tell you. But that's all I needed because it was such a wonderful feeling. But unfortunately, that feeling wears off. And even though I've lived in this house, I call this house my peace house because no one has ever abused me in this house. I won't say that nothing bad has ever happened to me in this house. Nothing very terrible has ever happened to me here. But of course, I'm a normal person and bad things happen. But they weren't abuse from another person directed at me. Bad things have happened when I've lived here, especially last year because my dad died of dementia, of vascular dementia. So I just want you to know that if you're in a traumatic situation, if you're in an abusive situation, if you're in the middle of something that can give you PTSD, the symptoms of the disease, the mental illness, are going to get worse after you're safe. And that is kind of frustrating, to say the least. That is really hard to deal with sometimes. It's like, oh, I did all the work. I got myself out of that crappy marriage after 22 years. Why do I have to spend the next however many years recovering from what happened to me? Why can't I just have a fresh start? Well, you have a fresh start in the sense that you're safe now. But unfortunately, you don't have a fresh start in the sense that your heart and your mind and your soul and your spirit and your body has to recover from the trauma. And you'll never if you have post-traumatic stress disorder, and especially complex post-traumatic stress disorder, you're never going to not have it. I hate that for you. I hate that for me. But that's the truth. So don't be hard on yourself and don't be mad at yourself if possible. You deserve to pat yourself on the back and say, wow, I was strong enough. I got myself out of that terrible situation. But now I deserve to do the work to help me heal as much as possible and to have this condition that I now have as much as possible to be as mild as possible, to have the symptoms less intense and less intense until maybe they're not intense at all. And to have them less frequently until maybe you can't even remember the last time you had a panic attack. Maybe you can't even remember the last time you had a nightmare. I don't even take that medicine anymore. And I can't remember the last time I've had a nightmare. I'm really happy about that. So, but I'm still in therapy. I still see a psychiatrist. I'm still on psych meds. And I kind of think it'll always be that way for the rest of my life. So please be good to yourself. Go easy on yourself. Don't be mad at yourself. Don't beat yourself up because you're still suffering the effects of what happened to you. If you were I'm trying to think of it. If you were in a coal mine and it exploded and you inhaled a bunch of coal dust, that could damage your lungs for the rest of your life. And you might not ever breathe normally again. Your lungs might not ever function again as good as they did before that happened. And as we live our lives, I'm 64 years old. I could show you a few different scars on my body, and some of them are places you don't want to look at. But those scars are always going to be there because I've had surgeries. Most of the big scars are from surgeries that I've had. I have a few small scars from injuries that I've had. They're not severe, but they haven't gone away. We are changed by our life experience. And if you've had the kind of life experience that causes you to have PTSD, and whether that's diagnosed by professional or not, a lot of us know that we have it. And I mean, I have been blessed enough that I've been seeing mental health professionals, and they've diagnosed the different things that I have wrong with me. But the fact is that just like the scars on my body that are never going to go away, we have inner scars, and they're never going to go away. But you know what's great about a scar? I can touch every scar on my body, and it does not hurt. Now, when I got those injuries, when I had those incisions cut into my body by a surgeon, if I touched those, I would scream because it would hurt so bad. And now I can mash them, I can touch them, I can squeeze them, I can do anything I want. It doesn't hurt one bit. Scars heal. Inner scars heal. Outer scars heal. You are healing. And please love yourself enough to do everything you can to heal more. And please give yourself grace and give yourself the time and the permission to do everything to heal from the trauma that you have experienced, and give yourself the time and the grace and the effort to let yourself get well and to help yourself get well. It's not something we can always just let it happen. People say time heals all wounds. That is not really 100% true, because sometimes time passes and we kind of stay stuck. And that's why it's really good to try to get help if possible. I know it's not always possible with the healthcare system we have in this country, unfortunately. I've been very blessed through insurance that I've been able to have help. If I didn't have the insurance, I wouldn't have it either. So you deserve your own love. You deserve love. And I love you guys. I want you guys to get well. I want me to get well, and I have been getting well. I'm more well than I have been probably since I was 5 years old, to be honest, because that's when my uncle started doing what he did to me. So I just made this video because I want everybody that watches it and everybody that hears this to think about the fact that just because you remove yourself from the bad situation doesn't mean the symptoms the symptoms haven't even got a chance mostly to start yet. Because your mind is not going to flood you with panic attacks, nightmares, flashbacks when you're still in the middle of the stuff that's giving you the panic attacks, the nightmares, and the flashbacks. And unfortunately, the first step is to remove yourself from the danger, and the second step is to start healing from the damage that the danger caused. So give yourself grace, give yourself love, give yourself as much help as you can possibly get. And I love you guys, and I hope you love yourself enough to give yourself grace. Sometimes I get mad at myself, like, it's been all these years. Why am I still thinking about all this stuff or feeling these things? Why do certain things trigger me so much still? So anyway, if you want to check out my art, that's on my community posts on my channel. And I would really love, in this video in particular, to hear what you guys have to say about this, see if it resonates with you or if it doesn't, and to see, have you experienced this too? My symptoms got a lot worse after I moved out from living with my husband. So I've experienced this firsthand, and I've also read about it. So I hope this helps, and I would love for this to be turned from a monologue into a dialogue. And please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to hearing from you. Okay, bye.